In the myth of St. George, the dragon of darkness attacks the village and carries off the beautiful princess. Then along comes the hero, St. George, who vanquishes the dragon and frees the princess. But in the earlier versions of this story, the dragon is the terrible aspect of the princess herself. So the hero is actually saving the princess from her own alter ego. In the later versions, the innocent princesses and fair maidens are often victimized by an ugly witch. And yet the witch, the devouring hag, and the ogress, like the dragon, all represent the alter ego, or terrible aspect, of the princess herself. And while the witch may soar across the sky with disheveled or flaming hair, she also takes the form of a serpent or fire-breathing dragon when she grows wrathful. It was said of the witch's hair that it could bring rain, hail, wind, and lightning, exactly what ancient nations said of the comet. The princess of folk legends is a descendant of the more archaic goddess figures. The earlier goddess has a dual nature, as radiant mother and devouring dragon. The goddess Kali of the Hindus was renowned for her beauty. But in her terrible aspect, her long disheveled tresses stretched across the heavens, blackening the sky, sweeping away the sun and the stars. We encounter surprisingly similar images in the goddess Coatlicue of the Aztecs, the Sumerian Inanna, Egyptian Hathor, Canaanite Astarte, Greek Gorgon, Hindu Rangda, and in the medieval witch, the most popular later caricature of the angry or lamenting goddess. Was the terrible goddess a spectacular, fear-inspiring cometary stream? Our word for comet comes from the Greek word coma, used for long, flowing hair. The torch, the flame, streamers, streaming feathers, various symbols of brooms, whisks, and flails. Around the world, these images signify both the angry goddess and the doomsday comet. The land of Sumer, a cradle of civilization in ancient Mesopotamia. A prototype of the early goddess figure is the Sumerian Inanna. The texts describe her as a great dragon, called the pure torch that flares in the sky. Inanna herself declares, I was the blazing, the brilliant fire. I was the fire whose flame and sparks rained down on the rebel land. I was the conflagration which shone forth in the heavens when the heavens shook and the earth trembled and quaked. Who then was this comet-like goddess, Inanna? For the very first astronomers of ancient Mesopotamia, the goddess Inanna is not an unknown cometary intruder. She is a planet. The planet Venus. In later Babylonian astronomy, the planet Venus was still remembered as the lamenting star. It was called the witch star. In the Americas, Aztec history remembered Venus as the great feathered serpent, and they called Venus the smoking star, the very phrase they used for a comet. The stargazers of Peru knew Venus as Chaska, the long-haired star, the most common phrase for the comet among ancient peoples. But the goddess wore two faces. Before she acquired her terrible aspect, she shone in the sky with awe-inspiring beauty. We came to know the goddess as the Greek Aphrodite, the Latin Venus, daughter of heaven, the prototype of the beautiful princess. One of her names was Aphrodite Comet, the long-haired or fiery-haired Aphrodite. In the language of ancient astronomy, Aphrodite Comet means the comet Venus. The Greeks and Romans shared the tradition of an archetypal comet of extraordinary beauty, radiating its hair in all directions. This was the Roman portrait of that comet, a symbol of celestial power and glory. Its name was the Star of Venus. So we're not just dealing here with princesses and angry goddesses and serpent dragons that turn out to be the doomsday comet. We are confronting the mythical parent of comets, a comet inspiring both veneration and dread, a comet that turns out to be a planet, Venus.